Today we are going to be talking about Hanya, and with Hanya, she looks like a pretty interesting character for what we've seen in the live stream, and especially because she's going to be our next Harmony character right before Ruan Mei. So all we know is that a lot of these Harmony characters are really freaking good. Tingyun, Yukong, Bronya, all these characters are absolutely busted using every single team. So having another character to add to that list, amazing. And she's going to be with our Genti, so they're probably going to work very well together just because of what I'm going to talk about later with her kit. But looking at Hanya, she is by far going to be a big quality of life change for a lot of teams, make it a lot easier to do rotations, make it a lot easier for you not to worry about skill point uses as much, because she is going to give us a brand new mechanic, if I'm not wrong, besides some eidolons that some characters may have. So today we're going to talk about Hanya, her kit, all of the types of things that you can do with her teams, with the characters that are going to benefit the most with her. All that type of stuff will be in this video. So let's go ahead and start talking about Hanya. So Hanya, for all we know in the live stream, of course, the basic attack does nothing, but the skill is something that we need to look on, and especially the burden state that she has with her skill and also effects with her talent. So when an enemy has burden state, which this is a single target debuff, just like Proof of Debt, whoever gets hit with this burden state is going to take more damage when they get hit, no matter the source. And then also looking at that, we also see that she is going to allow you to get skill points depending on a certain amount of attacks that you have to do when it comes to hitting that enemy with burden state. So looking at the characters right now, especially with Hanya being a Harmony character, who will she be impacting the most? And that by far is going to be characters with a lot of speed or characters that are skill point intensive. And I think you already know who I'm already looking at when I say skill point intensive, because Dan Heng for sure will absolutely love Hanya. By far one of the better characters that are going to be ending up wanting Hanya on that team, because Dan Heng, yes, right now we do have teams that are very skill point positive that work very well with Dan Heng, but this is going to be giving you not only a damage increase but also some skill points to spare when you're using a team that might want to use more than what you want. And Dan Heng having 3 skill point usage is pretty hefty. You aren't going to be able to pop this out 100% in a prolonged fight, because you are going to need things like shields, like heals, like buffs, and Dan Heng's ult might not be up 100% of the time. So Hanya by far is going to be a good usage or a good person on this team, just because she's giving you that buff on that burden state, just because she's giving you that skill point when you do however many attacks it takes to get it. Some really good buffs to that team when you end up having this. Now, I know a lot of people are probably saying, why are we using Hanya with Dan Heng if the buff is going to be single target? Well, one thing that we know about this buff is that, or debuff, is that you can put it on whoever you want to. You can put it on a skill and use it on the boss or use it on the character with the most health, and they'll take that increased damage, while the rest, like the mobs, the trash mobs, they'll probably die anyway right before you end up using your full damage with Dan Heng or whoever you're using. And that character that has the mark will end up not only giving you that skill point, but also will take increased damage. So this overall doesn't matter, just because you can place it on whoever you want as long as you skill whoever you want beforehand with Hanya, which you want to do so that you can apply that burden buff on them and you get that skill point as well. Another character that's going to really like Hanya for sure, Jing Liu. And this is a reason why, multiple things. One, because Jing Liu does use a couple skill points before she gets into her form. Now this does change if she does have her technique, but it does allow for your other teammates and also some possible team compositions to happen. Because as we may know, Jing Liu doesn't use any skill points when she's in her form, so that's a very big plus for her for sure. And it doesn't really need to have Hanya, because her best team right now is going to have Bronya, Pella, and a healer. And a lot of these characters are super skill point friendly. And Bronya, well, to be honest, if you're having Jing Liu out, you have Bronya out. Bronya, yeah, will take a bunch of your skill points away, but eventually Jing Liu just won't use any up, while your support and your healer are just non-stop generating them, especially if you have a bunch of speed. Having Hanya on the team not only will increase the damage for Jing Liu to have on whatever character you have burden on, but since you are doing double actions or even triple actions with Jing Liu, when you're out of form, you use a skill. You get advanced forwarded to the start, and then you have your form, that's another skill, and then you can use your ultimate, that is 3. So no matter what, no matter the cap it takes for you to get that skill point, I imagine it can't be more than 3 or 4, because by far that would take way too long for you to get that skill point out. You would possibly be able to single combo Jing Liu into getting a brand new skill point, and this offers a possibility for sub DPS teams to happen, and this seems really cool in my honest opinion. Another team that I think, or I guess another character that I think in all honesty might need to be looked at, is Kafka. Kafka, by far, if you are in the speedy team and you have characters like Sampo, like Kafka, these characters run through skill points like crazy if you want the max amount of coverage when it comes to die application and also retriggering. So having characters like Kafka, Sampo, who are already super speedy with Hanya, this is going to be really cool because you're going to have little things like you're going to be able to have skill points more often because they'll hit multiple times. You'll end up hitting that hit threshold that you need for that skill point. Some really cool combos that can come from this. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, but why not Pella? Why not Bronya? Why not Asta? We're assuming that people don't have these characters and this could be a substitute. 1000%, not every 4-star is supposed to break a team, make them absolutely more busted than it has to. But having Hanya, by far, I think, in my honest opinion, is going to be a very nice quality of life change for a lot of players that aren't hyper investing to every stat known to man. Because I know if you have your support very well built, if you have your healers very well built, not only will they be able to do their job, but they'll also be able to be fast enough to generate skill points. Hanya, in my opinion, is the form of skipping all of that and just giving you the good stuff for one character. Basically, she is your speed substats. She is those substats that you would put on a support character if they were in the god tier status with whatever relics you're getting. You wouldn't really have to optimize because you would end up getting skill points eventually. And I have zero idea how many skill points you would get from Burden Stay. I would assume there's a cap, but I would also assume it's a little easier to get due to that's Hanya's whole thing. She gives you extra damage and she gives you a skill point whenever you hit multiple times on the enemy. So I do think more than not, Hanya is going to be more of a quality of life character rather than a busted character. Characters like Sele also have that option where she's able to make use of Hanya. She's very, very skill point intensive and she's able to hit a same character multiple times depending on how you combo it, right? Like you can end up skilling the character that's beside the dude that has burden, hit the person that has burden, and then you can use your ultimate that gives you double hits and then you'll get the skill point back or something like that. There's little fun ways you could play with Hanya, I'm pretty sure, depending if you play with Sele, depending if you play with other characters. Something like Blade may be weird where you can do his skill and then you get the follow-up attack from it and then you get the ult with it. That's 3 hits as well. There's a lot of different combos that a lot of these characters can do, and especially with having supports as speedy as they are, having healers as speedy as they are as well. That's some really cool stuff that you can play around with getting a bunch of skill points that way. And does not forget about her ult, which is overall just a really nice buff overall, where she's able to give speed and attack to her ally, which is really cool in my honest opinion. I think characters like Kafka 1000% will love this because she does want to be really speedy. She does want that attack percentage for her dot. There's a lot of really cool characters that might take use of this. Jing Yuan as well would be a really cool character for this. Most Jing Yuans want to skill ult, and maybe with Woho as well if you end up pulling for her, or with Ting Yun you get some double ult, so skill, double ult, and then, you know, it's a bunch of different combinations that you can do. But for characters that like to suck up skill points, Jing Yuan wants to skill all the time. He has his Lightning Lord, he has his ult. That's the triple hit right there. There's a lot of characters that can end up doing 3 hits or more in their combos, depending on how you play them and depending how speedy they are. You also have your supports and your healers also adding on those attacks to give Hanya those skill points for your team. So I do think, my honest opinion, Hanya isn't the most broken thing in the world. I do think she's going to be a very nice character, and I do think she's going to be a really nice quality of life character for a lot of different teams because, like I said, there's many different avenues and options and combos where a lot of these characters can hit multiple times. You can make them hit for 2, 3, 4 times, depending how lucky you are, depending on the mobs you're fighting. You can definitely get some stuff out there to get enough hits before it takes to get that threshold for you to get your skill point. So I do think Hanya, by far, amazing character. I don't think they're busted, but I do think they are very, very strong for a lot of the characters that either move a lot, that are able to hit a lot, or able to just suck up so many skill points that Hanya is like, okay, I got you. Let's make this a little bit easier for you to play the game. Let's make it a little bit more comfortable. So I think that's how Hanya is. I can't wait to see what she does with her trace nose and the more, I could say, detailed aspects of her kit that we see when she ends up going live. So other than that, thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. See you on the next one, and peace.